So now that introductions are over, I suppose I'm going to get in that car. And I use the term car loosely. Damn. Choked over my own voice there.
She served me well. Unless you bought your own.
You hear an engine rev as a car pulls up.
Of course you did.
I have a reputation and appearance to keep up. Thank you very much.
Hey, this was your chance to see how the other half live.
Do I really need to know how the other half live? And let's be real, it's not the other half. We're the 1% firm. And at this point, his driver steps out of the car. It's not a car, it's a limo. Starts and opens up a door.
So do we come with you, or you want us to follow you?
I mean, there's no place safer than this limousine. Tested, anything short of a 50 cal can't go through it.
I'll let the other two.
Sure, why not? I've never ridden in a limo before.
I thought we just needed a laptop opened, but whatever.
Don't expect me to do that here, right?
I mean...
Get seated, get more comfortable.
Could have pulled a chair with us.
At this point, he's already stepped inside the limousine and is reclining back.
Yeah, I'll follow him. Alright, okay. You win. This is pretty good.
Good. And he reaches over to the armrest, pushes a button. The seat furthest from where you entered the limousine folds down automatically. The part of what looks to be almost like a solid wall, which is weird for a limousine, folds down as well, revealing what it was hiding, which is essentially a full bar.
He should have said you wanted something to drink. I probably got a bottle of whiskey kicking around in the back seat of mine somewhere.
Your whiskey and my whiskey are going to be very different. Is Frederick coming along, or is Frederick...
I don't think we can just leave him standing in the middle of the airport, you know, like, I mean... Like,
there's booze!
Like,
there's
I mean,
something for everyone.
He sees us all pull up, he's thinking, what the
There's
hell
booze,
that's
like Frederick's
kind of friends are you making? Like, what? I mean, like, it's somewhere, like, right there in the book, you know? Easier to pass through the eye of a straw than...
I believe the Futurama quote we're looking for is, Fry, I think he's trying to make some kind of deal with the devil with you.
No, Frederick will come along purely because he's just committed to this case. He just wants to know what's on the laptop. He can't wait for it to be literally nothing, and they'd be at a dead end. But yeah, no, he'll come along.
You hear the driver get in. Where to? And he kind of looks at the three of you and goes, unless you have a specific place, drive around. I've got a hot spot in here, so we don't need to be, if we need the internet, we don't have to be at a specific location. We can be on the move.
You want to have a drink with the old guard? There's a place we go.
All right. Just Here's the number. Just text the driver the number. In the meantime, where's that laptop?
Whoever's holding it will probably, I assume, pull it out.
Frederick, you have it then?
Sure, I will.
Yeah.
I will whip out the laptop. Not whip out the laptop, but like pull out the laptop. And the old guy that tried to extort us before was kind enough to leave me a cable for it afterwards. Should be charged. I left it plugged in.
He nods, pours himself a scotch before sitting down, looking the laptop over very similarly to how the computer repair shop guy did. He doesn't make any comments about it though, he just kind of nods, opens it up. Sees the password screen. Takes out a little USB thumb drive, plugs it into the laptop. And hits a couple of keys and then sets the laptop to the side. So, what have you found yourselves brought into on this one?
Some probably pretty rich organization kidnapping kids out of a cave.
Anybody I may have heard of?
Hell if I know. Not a soul
hoping to
there.
find
This
some names.
laptop's the only well. What was that fellow's name? The one that Sasha, what was the one that was tailing you? What was his name? I don't remember. Did he
Sig?
give an organization?
He said
Yeah,
Sig
like-
and Kurt, and nope. They knew the monster in the
name
cavern.
badge? Great. Okay. Well,
He just
it's-
said he was part of a group that was camping up in there.
Laptop's the lead we got on whoever was working in the caves. Who else is cooperating around here? Undead are blowing each other up. Feds are shooting the undead and anyone else in their way.
So you got Task Force Valkyrie out here? Ooh boy. Stirring the pot.
CIA, FBI, same thing to me.
You know, I was able to get my hands on some of their little gadgets. Specifically a gigantic Tesla coil cannon thing. Turn that over to the company. They've been reverse engineering it. I'm gonna start selling it on the weapons market. Or my own version of it on the weapons market in the next 3-4 months. Assuming everything doesn't go to hell. 3 to 4 months. Something on your
Sure.
mind, Edward?
Just seems from the way you're talking that you're involved in all this as well. They're always trying to be candid, not give away too much, and here you are, right in the heat of it. Of course you are.
Well, I mean, I don't have anything to do with what's going on here in the States, but when you tell me that the feds are shooting undead, that leads me to there's only a few organizations out there that are government backed and deal with this type of stuff. Task Force Valkyrie or, oh, what the hell's that other group? I worked with one a while back. Damn. He kind of shakes his head. A bunch of psychics or something like that.
How much do we know about those?
Give me... This is going to be intelligence occult, if anybody wants to roll.
Maybe I can roll, but I don't think.
Ooh.
No, nothing. I'm back on form.
I don't know what Frederick would know, but I'll roll. Why not? There's no reason for him to know anything, but...
Vasco. The Vanguard Serial Crimes Unit.
Mm.
Is another government, somewhat government operated. They're sort of like a police force. That their specific goal is to hunt down hunters that have gone too far. But that's what Frederick and Sasha would know.
I'm completely oblivious to all of it.
I'm sure it'll come to me eventually, he kind of says. Looks down at the laptop. Looks back up. So I wouldn't say I'm in the thick of it, money gets people talking. So, yeah, I hear things every now and again. I know a few of the organizations out there. Kind of looks at the three of you, seeing if anybody wants to add anything.
Well,
There's
What about
nowhere
it?
safe. There's nowhere safe, is there?
Depends on what your definition of safe is.
I mean, it seems like we've been all over our neck of the woods, chasing down monsters of some sort or another, and then seeing how bad the cities are with vampires, and you flew from overseas, and even then, it's not something where this is just an American problem.
No, there's definitely something big's going on. Something big's happening. Everybody's up to their eyeballs. Things are gonna get a whole hell of a lot worse before they start getting better. He looks down and goes, "Ah, there we go." Well, I'll be, he says, as he kind of picks up the laptop, pulling his flash drive out. Speaking of Task Force Valkyrie, and he kind of turns the screen around, and it shows the Task Force Valkyrie logo. What have you gotten yourselves into?
That was left in. You ever come across something you could like scream? I mean, we're not just talking like a scream of fear or nothing. This is like ears bleeding, glass shattering type thing.
I have fought a banshee, yes.
No, this was what's the word? Corporeal. The man, or at least it turned back into one. Lived underground. So these kids that went missing, we think that this thing had some sort of like instinct. Looked after them, recognized that they was vulnerable. And then these two guys found by Sasha, they show up. They seem to have an interest in it, and I mean, this was just in the items that was left lying around. Only thing that we could salvage.
Of course, if you want to believe those two fellows that showed up, whatever the other organization that was there kidnapped the kid. Well, took the kids into custody. And if that organization left the laptop, I'm guessing that those two kids arbitrarily decided to try to save while drunk are probably in some government bunker in Wisconsin now. That or they're already dead.
Not Wisconsin.
Where else do they hide government bunkers in the middle of nowhere? That's where the nukes are, aren't they?
He's staring. He's staring still with the laptop turned to face the three of you. He reaches over, lifts up the armrest, which is actually this very nice, like, wood overlay type deal. He lifts that up, pulls out a Cuban cigar, clips it. Anybody want one?
You just keep on tempting me, don't you?
He had already pulled one out and was already offering it to you before you even spoke.
It was the, rather than clipping it, it's going to be just the bite and open the window. Sacrilege, I know, but old habits die hard.
Either of you?
I don't partake.
Grandfather died of lung cancer. I reckon my liver will hold up, but I don't trust tobacco.
He uses his elbow to shut it, flips it, drops it into what appears to be a trash can that is there as well. Lights it, sucks on it slowly. So, I've just hacked government property. Don't worry. Don't care about that, honestly.
What all is on here?
Well, that I don't know. I haven't looked at that. I just got you through the password protection. By the way, password is fluffy puppies now. I thought it was funny.
It is.
Thought so. No capital letters. Don't want to make it too. So, if you need to get back in, you know how to get back in. Now, do you want me to dig through this? Because, tell you what, I'll dig through this. Just... No, you know what? It's better if I have plausible deniability. So I'm not gonna dig through it. The three of you can dig through it. However, if you come across anything, and that's when he extends out the USB stick. It has a few programs on it. If one doesn't work, try one of the other 5 that's on it. It should be able to get through most things.
We gotta figure out what we're doing now, because this is just confirmation that this suddenly got a whole lot bigger, and I don't think we can save those kids anymore. Because, well, as you can tell, a couple schmucks driving up in a beat-up truck or whatever we drove in on aren't exactly going to be taking down the government.
Kind of leans back, flicks a couple of ashes. You know what? That's everybody right now. This world is getting smaller and smaller. A few weeks ago, but a few months ago, us in the business, as it were, go our entire lives without meeting another one of the organizations. Now all the orgs are bumping heads with each other, rubbing elbows. We're finding ourselves way out of our depth. Something big's coming. I don't know what it is. And whether or not you try to keep your head down or not, it'll find you eventually and bite you. Even my cell over in England, we're dealing with things that, hell, it just isn't right.
Well, suppose in your perspective, world's getting smaller. For myself, at least, all of a sudden it's gotten way too damn big. Now feds are tearing up our small, middle of nowhere flyover state. Undead are tearing it up. Everything's on fire. We try to keep our heads down, but shit. I'm just gonna look at the rest of my group here and be like, what do you lot want to do? You want to keep chasing the feds through this, or you want to accept we kind of fail this part and move on?
Knowing that Task Force Valkyrie, if this is saying, what this looks like is that Task Force Valkyrie took those kids, which means either they're dead already, or even if we could get to them, we wouldn't want to. For all we know, these kids are like Carrie or Firestar or something like that, and Valkyrie has them in some white plastic room because that's the only way to keep safe from them. The only other possibility is that they weren't taken by Valkyrie, and Valkyrie is just also on their tail. But if Task Force Valkyrie can't catch up with them, what hope do we have? All we can establish is they were both in the cave.
Share a story about this man right here. Back on our second tour together. This dumbass lieutenant goes and gets himself caught. Rests back looking at looking death straight in the face, But he decides to take a few liberties, and with a little detachment goes after, rescues that, pulls that lieutenant out. And that lieutenant, I know full well, given up any hope of being rescued, just counting down the days till the inevitable. Even after that lieutenant given up, there was someone else there that still went out there to save him. You know how I know all of that? One sergeant went in, rescued one man. Because I was that lieutenant. So even if those kids are out there, even if all odds are stacked against us, I don't want to be the one who back down when presented with the same problem. Now, if you want to walk away, I don't blame you.
I don't think this is a fight we could win. But maybe this doesn't have to be a fight. We're not going to outgun Task Force Valkyrie. We're not going to kick in doors and bust in skulls. But maybe there is more digging we can do. I mean, we survived our previous encounter with them. They're not too happy about us. But maybe they're so caught up in their high-level games, they're not seeing these two as children. If you're not going to give up, I'm not going to give up. But this isn't something we can solve with brute force.
On that, I think we are agreed.
So we stick our noses in the dirt, see what we can come up with, and hope they ignore the rats scurrying about their walls looking for answers. Hoping they're too busy with the bear outside the front door. We're gambling on this, but if they're so willing to take these kids away from their family, they better have a damn good reason, and if they don't, I bet they're doing it everywhere else across the country too, so... Shit, we gotta investigate the entire goddamn government, don't we? Where do we start?
It sure looks that way.
Where do you start? Rick kind of speaks up. And he taps his hand on the laptop. I mean, you already got it started here. Now, much to his story, even if it does come down to a fight, you don't want it to come down to an open brawl. You know, that's why... Chuckles. That's how we won against the British. We didn't fight the same fight that the British fought back then. If this does turn into a fight, you need to start thinking like that as well.
What about you, Rick? Join us one last time in the trenches. Chance of survival minimal.
He kind of chuckles. I got some things that I have to take care of back in England. However, I have a couple of ideas floating around. Depends on how big you want to go with it. But I don't expect you to answer that question right here, right now, because you don't know how big it needs to be. You're talking about investigating an entire country? Seeing if they're doing it all over the country? I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but... yeah, most likely. I had to take and educate. Which isn't a great thought. You dig through the laptop. I'll make a few phone calls before I'm out of here.
Appreciate it.
Now, He pauses. So you want me to take you back to the... You know what? No. I am not taking you back to that car. I'm gonna hit up a dealership. I'll get you a nice Escalade. Cash money. Won't be any payments on it outside of your standard... What is it? Don't they tax you for owning a car here in the States still?
There's an annual registration fee.
That's all you'll have to pay for after the first one. Obviously, I'll pay for the first one, get everything set up. Does that sound good? Because, honestly, you need to just have that thing junked. Whatever you drove up in, I'm not even sure if it's road legal, honestly. And if it is, it shouldn't be.
You think they have time to enforce road legality in the middle of nowhere here?
I don't know. Cop has a slow month, needs to up their ticket quota. Like, I don't know.
You've done too much already.
I literally stuck a USB into
You
a
flew out
laptop.
here. You flew out here, you picked us up, you gave us a ride around, and probably the most comfortable vehicle I've ever been in. All on your own dime.
On my own penny. Thank you very much.
You know what this is? Rubbing salt into the wound.
I say we take the car.
Sasha's looking around like, wait, why are we turning down an Escalade here? What is going on?
I'll say. Not my friend, not my place to say.
Yeah.
Look, I thought we needed to lie low. We drive around in a fancy new car, and that's how the feds realize who we are. Have you realized where we are? If this car don't have like half a tree stuck in the back, like it ain't gonna blend in. Like,
All right, I get it. You want to keep the quaint motif. I'm sorry for stepping on toes.
Don't apologize. It's well intended. I know. How about we go for that drink?
All right. I'll stay for a couple of drinks, and then I'm out. Stated, you know my number. You can always reach out. And tell you what, if it does turn out to be an all-out war against the government, which I don't think it will, I feel like that'd draw way too much attention. But if it comes down to something that might be a little bigger, I know a couple PMCs. Nathan owns one. There's a couple of others out there.
Appreciate it. Keep it in mind.
The limo makes its way to whatever location the old guard hang out at.
Some old veterans bar.
Everybody drink, or some people abstaining. Top
Ready?
shelf.
Yeah.
sorry, I was typing, but yeah, no, I mean, obviously he's gonna have a few drinks. Come on, you don't go to a bar and you don't drink the cheapest shit they got. Like, come on.
Oh no, Rick is not letting anything cheap hit the table. Each one of these is $4,000 or $5,000 per bottle.
This is a bar in the middle of nowhere, West Virginia. I don't think
Veterans bar.
I don't think they got $5,000 bottles. What you know,
Oh, you think that until he literally has it start being brought in. I need a stamina check from everybody for the next morning.
Just raw stamina?
Just raw stamina, yes.
I still got it.
Ooh, hanging in there.
I now realize I have the lowest stamina.
However, you wake up, you remember the night. Still not feeling great, but you're not incapacitated. Any of you.
Good.
Well, I suppose it's time to start digging through this laptop.
You know what you're looking for? Or you're just digging around, hoping to find something.
I mean, mostly the latter. I mean, if we find, a folder that says location of, you know, hostage jail, like I don't know. That'd be great, but I don't think we're gonna be finding that.
Well, let me know when you had enough. I'll take over.
But then again, you open up the laptop and they have their fancy, secret government organization logo just on full display. I don't know how secret they're gonna be with their files.
Who knows what's going on in there?
So, who has the highest computer skill? Just asking.
I have one.
I figure 1 or 2 is probably going to be the max between everybody.
I have a chance die.
Yeah, I would be
I
a
don't have any
chance die on that
skill.
too.
Well, Eddie, you're the most computer literate.
What am I rolling?
Crash and burn, hacker man.
It's not really hacking in this case. This is going to be intelligence plus computers.
I will
Yeah, that'd be a super chance die for me.
Nothing on 7. Seriously, roll 20 that we're doing this again, are we?
Well, okay. So, there's going to be a few things that I'm going to leave out of this, but, I mean, you're in. You do notice that there are other files that are encrypted. However, you're still able to glean a few things just by looking through the computer. And there are... It is not logged into any email. Matter of fact, it doesn't seem to be signed into any accounts whatsoever. So everything that you're going to get is probably going to be directly from the computer.
Mm-hmm.
This computer has one folder named The Program. Just kind of a cursory glance, this looks to be mostly spreadsheets and text files. One of the probably the biggest one you noticed is subjects, which is an Excel sheet, as well as locations, which is another Excel sheet. And then the other folder that you notice is called Research. This one contains a text file. Actually, it's not a text file. It's a saved email file. Let me rephrase that. The email is RE nature of ongoing research into plague and viability as biological weapon. I'm assuming you kind of read these files out as I was giving the descriptions.
Yeah. I suddenly feel like I could use another drink.
Is that why Task Force Valkyrie kidnapped these children? Something in the blood that they want to weaponize?
Shit, how would they know? How would we know?
I mean, the ones that we met fighting the vampires and the owl ghost smoke thing or whatever like that seemed like they were just stabbing in the dark as much as anyone else. But I mean, I don't know. What about in the locations? Tell me that there's at least something that cross-references subjects and locations.
I'll show Sasha the 2 Excel sheets then. If there's anything cross-reference.
Alright.
Maybe.
The first Excel sheet we'll just arbitrarily pick locations. These, as you start to look, these are, from what you can tell, they're addresses. So they're very concrete locations. There's a couple. There's one somewhere in Indiana. There's one somewhere in California. As you kind of look through it, it doesn't take long to realize there are some that have a parenthesis T in parenthesis. One of the ones listed is the museum in Charleston. This one has a parenthesis with a T in the parentheses. There's another one that legitimately lists the Pentagon as one of the locations. You want to roll... If anybody wants to roll intelligence, this would just be pure intelligence.
Give it a shot.
I'll try. Oh. That's really nice.
Edward got one.
This will be amusing. Wow.
You rolled stamina as well.
Oh. My bad.
It's fine.
Gonna say I was on a chance side and I rolled 2 successes. Hey.
So, both Sasha and Edward, it becomes pretty obvious looking at this. The T stands for temporary. These are locations that they don't expect to hold for long periods of time. There's one also in Hanover. that was marked with a T. So the one listed in California, the one listed in Indiana, the one listed in DC itself do not have T's listed. So these seem to be more permanent operations. Subjects. These are a list of names. Along with various signs and symbols. One pops out immediately to Sasha. There's one that has a name next to it. But then in parentheses, or in quotations in the middle, SIG, S-I-G. And two right next to it, Sigma, codenamed Sigma. Underneath of it, there's another name, quotation, Kurt, Project Grundy. Next to it is another column. Next to Sigma, it reads, telepathic, able to manipulate memories, create optical illusions, force people in direct contact to relive worst nightmares. Grundy, physically augmented to be far stronger than human. Embedded 50 caliber rifle into arm. 5 rounds before it goes out and needs to be reloaded. Reload requires surgery.
These are the two from the cave. Sasha's going to point them out. These are the two that came looking for that other man. Monster thing, whatever. They're Task Force Valkyrie test subjects.
Frederick, as you're looking through this, you notice the last names of the kids at the very last data entries. No other information outside of names.
Right. Well, confirms they have them. Question is, where?
Is there anything?
Go ahead.
Is there anything that can connect these two files, like location number or something like that?
I hate asking Sasha to roll intelligence because I know that's one die.
Let's hit it again.
Okay.
This is her savant phase, apparently.
Could go to Vegas and count cards. That's it.
Those are
Sasha
just
says, take us to Vegas.
those 3 are just the first 3 columns. As you start to move the cursor over, you start to see more columns. These columns are filled out for a couple of these columns are filled out. Location, location where obtained is the terminology used. it lists the locations of all these different individuals where they were grabbed, for lack of a better word. Processing facility. As you look at the processing facility, you see that these are usually temporary locations. Main locations tend to be the next closest non-temporary location. There's only 3 non-temporary locations at this time.
They're in DC. These kids got snatched and taken to Washington. To whatever entrenched Task Force Valkyrie headquarters they have there.
So they're in the Pentagon. Right. How are we going to get in the Pentagon?
We got to figure out a way to get in, or a way to get them out without us having to get in.
Why, you want to have a revolutionary war? You want to go burn down the Pentagon? That's what we were told to do. Don't fight a full-scale war. You want to go bomb the Pentagon? You want to be a terrorist? Otherwise, I don't see how we're going to be sneaking in there. Look, like I can talk my way through a lot of things, but I can't talk my way into the damn Pentagon.
There's always a way. Always a way.
There's still one file on this computer that hasn't been looked at. Just friendly GM note.
What's in the last file?
The email. Saved email.
Well, I think we got the gist from the title, but I mean, we're here.
Let's have a look, yeah.
Yeah.
At the very top it states, at this point, all strands have been determined and certain individuals have ideas on how they affect populations. The viral and bacterial strains are highly resistant, if not completely immune, to antibiotics. The bacterial form is used to cull mortal populations. Vector is airborne and causes blood to become acidic to kindred. The viral strain, this seems to be the main source of information gathering when attempting to infect new types of beings. Those infected with the virus become infected and later transform. Seems to be the only vector that can do this. Fungal. This seems to be located specifically in the Indiana region. Highly contagious, but only on specific supernaturals that have spiritual essences. Parasitical. Recovered from Hanover. Seems to mutate into large bug, almost like a combat form. Pyron. Rarest of the vectors, as far as we can tell, slowly poking holes into individuals' brains. Nanovirus version. Seems to be effective at dealing with robotics. Attempting to create a bioweapon version of this has proven somewhat difficult. We have been able to manifest it despite the pushback from the majority of Task Force Valkyrie. Currently working in conjunction with the program, who is refining the process using human individuals. Data based off of their research is proving the program is asking for more individuals.
Is there something in there that's other than the last line? What do you think? We're going as willing volunteers?
I don't think kids can be willing volunteers at any point.
Oh, well, we can.
So then the challenge isn't break into the Pentagon, it's break out.
Breaking out.
You want to get yourself arrested by the feds trying to make a bioweapon on grounds that you want to help them make it. Now, you stroll up to the Pentagon, you even say that you know about this, they might just shoot you on the spot.
Maybe they do.
I don't know, this is going to take some time to think. Some time that I think I'm going to need. I don't think anyone's making a decision today.
I definitely think we need to sit down and discuss this with everyone and figure out what we can do and how we can help these kids. Because here's the thing, what happens if we're wildly successful? If we break in there, or we get let in, and we see these two kids in a cage that's in a row of cages, all of them with people in them. And if these people are being tested on, how do we know which ones are dangerous and which ones aren't? Can they even come back? Or would we just starting up a new plague by freeing them all?
I think that's a question for later if we even determine this is feasible. We're asking the big moral questions without even know if it's possible to get to those questions. I'll let you think on it. I'm gonna step out and think on it myself. And Frederick's he's gonna go find something to drink while he thinks about this.
You have just finished listening to this week's episode of Hunter the Vigil, Critical Measures, part of the Domain Gaming's Contagion Anthology, written and told by Wyverian. A special thanks to you, the listener, and if you wish to continue supporting us, subscribe, like, and share. As always, comments are welcomed. Until the next chapter, don't stop asking yourself, why must those who hunt monsters hunt themselves?